Okay, we're going to start. Please rise while the colors are posted and salute. Former Congressman Michael McNulty will lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our opening prayer. Brooke Levitt will lead us. Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Tim Forbes, the chairman of the Rensselaer County Honor of Deceased Veterans Committee. We've gathered here this morning to honor deceased Rensselaer County veterans of the month of June. And those veterans are the 7 Kelly brothers: James, Francis, William, Donald, Charles, Robert, and George. We're honored to have with us this morning their families. For Donald Kelly, we have Donald Kelly Jr., Michael Kelly, James, Jeffrey, all sons. We have Donna Marie Kelly, a daughter. For James Kelly, we have Janice Kelly Perotti. For William Kelly, we have Kathy Kelly Gervais, a daughter. Leanne Kelly Brown, daughter. For Charles Kelly, we have Joyce Kelly Feely, his daughter. Please note, we've got at least 30 members of the family back there too, so we got a heck of a big crowd. Thank you all for being here. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month is the Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, representing Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, Joshua Williams, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, Manik Elia, former Congressman Michael McNulty, New York State Senator Jake Ashby, New York State Assemblyman Scott Bendett, and John T. McDonald III. The Rensselaer County Legislative Vice Chair, Robert Loveridge. Our County Sheriff, Kyle Bergalt. Colonel Fisher from the Waterville Arsenal. Legislators, Dan Casal, Mark Fleming, Tom Grant, Lori Kennedy, and Robert Loveridge. As we are all aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember our veterans all year round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor of Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes members of the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, the Veterans of Lansingburg, the Military Order of Purple Heart, the Marine Corps League, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Korean War Veterans, Tri-County Council Vietnam-era veterans, the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Vietnam Veterans of America, AMVETS, our Crab Garrison Post 1954, and our own Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. I will now ask the Robert Loveridge to come forward and read the proclamations about the Kelly brothers.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bob Loveridge. I'm the Vice Chair of the Rensselaer County Legislature. I would like to welcome you all here this morning to our monthly Honor Deceased Veteran Program. I'd like to also extend on behalf of Chairwoman Huffman. She was not able to be with us today, but she called and wanted to extend her admiration and recognition to the family and our honorees today. Each month, we celebrate the life and service of Rensselaer County veterans who served their country and made a lasting impact on our community. Last week, we paused to observe the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and it's worth noting that several Rensselaer County residents took part in that historic day. And some of them are remembered right over here on our Wall of Heroes. In a little while, I'm going to introduce Colonel Walsh, who will speak a little bit about that. Today, we gather to honor the remarkable service and sacrifice of 7 Kelly brothers, each of whom proudly served in the military. Born to James A. and Mary Elsie MacArthur Kelly, the brothers were part of a large and loving family of 12 children, 8 boys and 4 girls. Their commitment to their country is a testament to their value and dedication, making their stories truly inspiring. James Kelly listed in the United States Army on December 22, 1939, serving in the Pacific Theater during World War II. He was honorably discharged on June 9, 1945, earning the American Defense Medal and 1 Bronze Service Star, the American Campaign Medal, the Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Honorable Service Lapel Button. James married Dorothy Levenach on September 8, 1948, and they had 1 daughter, Janice. He worked as a delivery driver and a tractor-trailer driver. James passed away on March 5, 1977, remembered for his service and his dedication. Francis Kelly enlisted in the United States Navy on December 5, 1940, and was present at Pearl Harbor during the attack on December 7, 1941. He served on several ships and was honorably discharged on April 30, 1948. In 1949, he enlisted in the Navy Reserve before retiring in 1965. Francis received the World War II Victory Medal, the American Campaign Medal, and the American Defense Service Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, and the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 3 Bronze Service Stars. He married Nellie Culpa on August 26, 1945, and they had 2 children, Lynn and Roy. Francis worked as a frozen food salesman and later became vice president of Sysco Foods. He passed away on March 10, 1985. William Kelly enlisted in the United States Navy Reserve on March 20, 1944. He served actively during World War II and the Korean conflict. Chief Petty Officer Kelly retired from the Navy Reserve on March 13, 1971, after a distinguished career, earning the American Campaign Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Korean Service Medal, the Navy Occupation Medal, and the Asian Clasp, the Korean Defense Service Medal, the Navy Reserve Medal, the Presidential Unit Citation, and the United Nations Medal. William married Dorothy Husky on July 20th, 1947, and they had 3 children, Kathy, Leanne, and William Scott. William supported his family by working as a commercial driver for several companies. He passed away, leaving behind a legacy of service and dedication. Donald Kelly enlisted in the United States Army on August 20th, 1946, serving as a rifleman until his honorable discharge on January 13th, 1948, where he was awarded the World War II Victory Medal, the Army of Occupation Medal with Japan clasp, and the Honorable Service Medal lapel button. Upon his honorable discharge from the United States Army, Donald enlisted in the United States Navy in 1949. Donald would have multiple enlistments in the United States Navy, receiving an honorable discharge on his retirement from the Navy on September 2nd, 1969, as a radioman first class. For his honorable service to his country, RM1 Kelly was awarded the National Defense Service Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, a letter of appreciation, and a letter of commendation. He married Mary Glass on April 14, 1956, and they had 5 children: Donna, Donald, James, Michael, and Jeffrey. Donald worked for the Continental Can Company in the city of Troy. He passed away on November 20th, 2000, cherished by his family. Charles Kelly enlisted in the United States Navy on May 29th, 1951, and served during the Korean War until his honorable discharge on August 13th, 1954. He was awarded the National Defense Service Medal for his service, and Charles was married to Peggy Dwyer on September 11th, 1954, and they had 4 children: Joyce, Nancy, Mark, and Paul. He worked at the Bear, Manning, and Niagara Mohawk before retiring in 2007. Charles passed away on September 18th, 2019, remembered fondly by his family and community. Robert Kelly enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1953 and served during the Korean and Vietnam Wars. He retired on August 21st, 1973 as Technical Sergeant. For his honorable service to his country, Tech Sergeant Kelly was awarded the Air Force Good Conduct Medal and 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, the Air Force Longevity Service Medal, ribbon, and 4 Oak Leaf Clusters, and the Air Force Commendation Medal with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster. Robert married Shirley Crease on June 8, 1957, and they had 2 children, Kimberly and Robert. He worked for the Department of Energy and enjoyed family time, traveling, fishing, and golfing. Robert passed away on November 19th, 2018. And finally, we have George Kelly, enlisted in the United States Air Force on October 15th, 1954, serving in the 1607th Air Transport Wing at Dover Air Force Base and part of the Maintenance and Supply Squadron and the 1607th Medical Squadron until his honorable discharge on August 26, 1958. George married Shirley Nesbitt on September 20th, 1960, and they had 6 children: Timothy, Jacqueline, Edward, George Jr., Teresa, and Shannon. He worked as an electrician. George passed away on August 30th, 1992, leaving a legacy of dedication and love. 7 Kelly brothers enlisted to serve their country over the course of 15 years. How amazing is that? It's worth noting that the oldest brother, Edward F. Kelly, born in 1917, did try an attempt to enlist. However, he was rejected due to medical reasons. I only touched upon the biographical aspects of all of these great veterans this morning here. The programs that you have received have included additional information about each one of the veterans, and I want to personally thank Lonnie Warrington from our Veterans Office for her work in compiling all the information that we are sharing with you today. The Kelly brothers exemplify the values of duty, honor, and country. Their service across multiple branches of military during critical periods of time in America. We brought you some highlights and collective issues and facts about each of them and the sacrifices that they made. We honor their memory and their enduring legacy today and thank their families for allowing us the opportunity to remember them. Thank you very much. Tom, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Bob. My voice is still screwed up. It's not getting any better, but I'll give it a try. We're really honored to honor your family today. 7 brothers is really something. A couple of months ago, we had another family. They had 7 brothers and sisters that we honored here, the Plunkett family. And it's really a pleasure for me to be up here and to be able to do this. This is what we call our Hall of Healer. We have 15 Medal of Honor winners that we honor here, and plus over 300 deceased veterans. And your brothers will be on that over there. Now, I just want to know how they made up their mind, whether to go Navy or Air Force. Actually, the one, James, was in the Army, but it was the Army Air Force, which is the Air Force up today. So it's something. Navy won out big time. Well, anyway, I just want to let you know your brothers will be honored over here on this wall with the plaque, and they'll probably take up a whole plaque. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
I know Matt's making this. So. That's very good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
See you, buddy. How are you? Good? I didn't know that was her. I didn't know that was
You see it, so you did a great job. There's a lot there.
Yeah, you did good.
Thank you, Robert. I will now ask Rensselaer County Executive Stephen McLaughlin to come forward.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. What a crowd. It's great. What an honor. 7 brothers, would have been 8, except for a bad knee, as I heard. Yeah. And they pretty much covered almost every branch, Army, Navy, Air Force, right? Amazing. Amazing family. What a legacy of service to the country. And they were in some pretty interesting times back then, too. And I was looking at James joined when George was a 2-year-old. At home. That's pretty amazing. That's quite a spread right there. Maybe he joined because he had 2-year-olds and 2- and 3-year-old brothers. Say, I got to get out of here. But he was a young man at that point himself. But what a spread of brothers there. Amazing family, 12 kids altogether, and to have 7 and would have been 8 of them to serve. That's awesome. And then, as we see so often during that time frame, they just came back home and went to work, and raised their family and did the right thing here in this area. So certainly thank them for all of that. I can't begin to recap all the stuff. I was trying to read through all that. They saw a lot of stuff and all over the world, really. So amazing legacy. We're honored to be able to honor them here today. And as Tom said, they'll take up a plaque all by themselves on that hall of heroes over there. So that's going to be a lot of names added. We might need 2 plaques this year to cover this. So just a great honor for us. You see out front there, that's a Veterans Park that we put in to honor the veterans here in Rensselaer County every day. It's real important to us. We say that. It's not just a saying that we say every day is Veterans Day. We mean it here in Rensselaer County. We have a great veterans organization here. And if to any of our veterans, if you need anything, please reach out to our Veterans Office, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can. But thank you to all the family for showing up. This is probably not even all of them. With a family that big, there's probably a lot more out there that weren't able to be here today. But thank you for letting us honor them. I have a stack over here of proclamations, and I don't know who goes to what, so I'm going to let you guys figure it out. It's a bit like the Oprah show. Everybody gets a proclamation, not a car, but thank you for being here and letting us honor these great American brothers. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I will now ask Joshua Williams, representing Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, and Manik Eliha, representing Congressman Paul Tonko, to come forward.
Thank you very much, Tim. Good morning, everybody. As kindly mentioned, my name is Manik Elihi, here on behalf of Congressman Paul Tonko in his office, who couldn't have the pleasure of joining us today. But what a pleasure to be here to honor all of the 7 brothers who gave incredibly great service to this country. Want to thank the leadership here at Rensselaer County and the Veteran Service Agency for organizing today's event. I'm sure it was quite a lift, especially from you, Lonnie, receiving all the emails. But most importantly, want to thank the Village of Kelly that's here with us this morning as well. I see some of the residents in the back there, so thank you very much. I don't know if you've elected a mayor, but I think you can definitely charter a village at this point. But a couple of my preceding speakers have very eloquently spoken to the military service here of the 7 brothers. But something I want to add is that, from a civilian's perspective, I'm sure the boot camp and the training that you go to get into any military branch is very sufficient. But I think in the case of the Kelly brothers, it was supplemented by just growing up in a household with 8 boys. So I'm sure that helped. I don't know, Senator, if you think that helps in military service. But in all seriousness, we take a moment today from our office of Congressman Paul Tonko to deliver a hearty thank you to the 7 Kelly brothers, to honor them, and to adequately honor their service. The congressman requested that a flag be flown over our nation's capital in honor of all 7 of them. The very Capitol building that represents the democracy, the values, the freedom that all 7 of them fought for in their military service. And there's something poetic there that this flag was flown over that building. So in honor of James Kelly, Francis Kelly, William Kelly, Donald Kelly, Charles Kelly, Robert Kelly, and George Kelly, this flag was flown over our nation's capital. I hope whenever you look at it, it's a symbol of their dedication, of their sacrifice to our country. And we, on behalf of a grateful Congress, through Congressman Paul Tonko, thank you for letting us create this space to honor the Kelly brothers. Thank you. I would also now hand it over to my colleague in Congresswoman Stefanik's office for a few remarks as well.
Good morning. I will keep my remarks brief, as Manik really covered, what we're here to commemorate and honor today. This family spent so much of their formative years in service to our country. Clearly, their parents instilled in them a sense of duty and honor to this country. And the two of the elder brothers who served were at Pearl Harbor. They saw the instigating events of World War II, at least the United States' entry into World War II. They served in World War II, in the Korean conflict, the Korean War, served in the Vietnam War, and were stationed around the world in between. And Manik said, jokingly the village of Kelly, but we all know the idiom that it takes a village. And in this case, these 7 brothers set out to change the world and to save the world and to preserve our values. And for that, we are forever grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. I will now ask New York State Senator Jake Ashby to come forward.
Well, good morning. It's great to be with you. I want to thank the family for coming in today and everybody else who's joined us. Congressman McNulty for helping to start these ceremonies and learning about the eldest brother having difficulty joining because of a medical issue. I encountered that as well, and Congressman McNulty was gracious enough to stick with me and help me proceed. And so every opportunity that I get, I want to thank him for that. Also want to thank Colonel Fisher. I know that he has a member of his own family here today, which is nice to see. And of course, the county executive for continuing this tradition. And when we look at 7 brothers, and the first one joining, being at Pearl Harbor when it was attacked, I can imagine that probably irritated the other brothers a little bit. And Monica is absolutely right. They almost have their own squad. I mean, they definitely have their own fire team, right? But they nearly have their own squad right there. And the Marine Corps really missed out on the opportunity for the Kelly brothers. But I mean, in all seriousness, the bar is set really high with your family. This is not often that we come across a family that has given so much to this country. And for one beginning at Pearl Harbor and the youngest ending his career and serving at Dover. And Dover Air Force Base is the repository and where people are brought back after they are killed in action. And spending his time in service there and then being buried at Arlington National Cemetery is an incredible accomplishment. And it does not go unnoticed. And on behalf of the New York State Senate, I do have proclamations here for you, but thank you very much for your family service. And I can see that the tradition has continued throughout your family, and I'm sure that it will be because of their legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. I will now ask New York State Assemblyman Scott Bendet and John T. McDonald III to come forward.
Well, good morning to the Kelly family. Good morning to everybody. I have to tell you, it's one of the few times I've been with so many Irish that there's not a party or a parade going on. And I'm going to keep my comments brief because I see PJ Higgett, our AOH chairperson, who's like salivating to throw out application forms. He's got a captive audience. But, I have to say a couple of thoughts as I read through. And by the way, Lonnie, I love the color photos. That's a nice touch, very nice touch. First thing I thought about was, poor mom. 12 kids in 16 years. That's some production. No doubt about that. In that same token, on a more serious note, that's 16 years of worrying of whether my son is going to come home and how my son is doing. And I'm sure that concern was not shared just by Mom, but Dad and the rest of the family as well. And thankfully, through the grace of God, they returned. And as Steve alluded to earlier, and my colleagues have as well, went on to live active and productive lives and contributions to our community. I often say when we have one honoree that what's been great about those individuals who've chosen to serve is ordinary individuals stepping up for extraordinary circumstances. Today, we have an ordinary family stepping up for extraordinary circumstances, and we thank the Kelly for the honor to remember them once again, as we should each and every day. Thank you.
And I couldn't agree more with John. Just an ordinary family from Troy making an extraordinary contribution to the United States, and it's really amazing that this band of brothers was able to contribute so much to our country. Thank you so much for letting us honor them. And on behalf of 19.5 million people in New York State, here's citations for all of you from John and I. Thank you.
You're gonna need a U-Haul. Great. Oh, was she? Great, thank you.
Thank you all. Lonnie, we could have you alphabetize these for the family and put them all together. Sorry. I will now ask Colonel Fisher, the commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, to come forward.
Good morning. It's such just awesome just to see the rows filled all the way from the rear all the way to the front. And there's only one person that's probably more nervous what I'm going to say besides me, and that's my son, the other individual in uniform. And it wasn't really hard to motivate him to get him out of bed in the morning because not only I'm the colonel, I'm the dad, I'm also a supreme motivator. I'm just kidding. Look, we're absolutely happy to be part of Rensselaer County. We live here in Rensselaer County. We'll be here for a little bit longer. But I'm also the 63rd commander of Watervliet Arsenal, the nation's oldest active arsenal, continues to support and manufacture weapons. But more importantly, you know, when you just hear the name the Kellys, it reminds me of the things that I have up in my house in the beginning of my military journey and being part of the military family. And so, you know, I was mentioned here before, but not in front of the Kellys. You know, growing up, you know, I was, you know, being a son of a command sergeant major, you know, I was introduced to military service, military history, and it really enamored me on what the generations accomplished and had to endure before my dad's service, and then where did I look to find heroes at? In one of those chapters, you know, my son just takes off after me a couple of things. It's just the World War II history. You know, what transpired across this great country and how young men set out to do difficult things during turbulent times, leaving families back home here in the United States, and really not only serving for their families, but serving for their comrades in arms, to their brothers to the left and right. So not only do I find a tribute this week that we honor the Kelly families, but also this week on the 14th on Friday, we also honor Flag Day. And so I had the opportunity to speak at an event this weekend. And Flag Day, you know, when you think about it, that history as well, the American flag is the final warmth and touch that touches a service member before, before the dignified burial of remains. And we talked about what happens at Dover Air Force Base, and you know, for those still missing in action that come back. But you know, as far as you know, in the Kelly family, there's a couple of things I really hang up in my house that I really find a tribute to, and it will always hang up in my house. And one is a picture of the Arizona Memorial. And you look at if you ever been to the Arizona Memorial, you know there's still oil that leaks up um, contamination is frowned upon. Environmental contamination is frowned upon. But that oil really, leaks up, and it really gives you the sense of what's buried beneath the hulls. And that picture's up in the house. And it was one of the first things that I bought during my first duty station at Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, where I actually lived on Wheeler Army Airfield in one of the historic houses that still have bullet hole wounds from the attacks of Pearl Harbor. Really carried with me out through my military service. And it will stay up in my house for the longest time, because not only for individuals like my son, but also guests that come over to really reflect on what is the cost in the price of freedom that really had to be endured that day, and just eloquently spoken before that day that lived in infamy. But for as far as the Kelly brothers, I'm just in awe. I'm in awe for their dedication to step up into the breach of danger. I'm in awe of your mother and the family who had to keep the flames and the hopes burning at night, knowing that they're going to send their treasured loved ones out and did not know. In a time in the world where we had snail mail, my son doesn't understand how to put a stamp on a piece of mail and hoping that mail gets back. What your mother and your father had to endure. So on behalf of Watervliet Arsenal, we have small tokens of our appreciation of the Kelly family. And when I will be driving around with my son in the city of Troy and Rensselaer County, we'll be looking for some of the Kelly banners going up, and we're like, yep, we met that historic family, that legend of a family who's really had a worldwide impact beyond the confines of Rensselaer County, and really delivered freedom, democracy across the world to those who they met and some who they've never met. And so thank you on behalf of Watervliet Arsenal. Here's our small token of our appreciation.
Thank you, Colonel Fisher. I'll now ask Joe Simonek to present our one plaque to the family. The committee, please stand. Thank you, Joe. Please stand for our closing prayer.
Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, the hill, and the sky. All is well. God of compassion, dignity, and strength, watch over this veteran and his family. Bless him and grant his family comfort and everlasting peace. Amen.
Retire the colors. And salute. Two. This concludes our honors of that ceremony for this month. Thank you for coming to honor our deceased veterans for the month of June, the Kelly brothers. Please join us for our next honor of vet ceremony, which is scheduled for July 8th. Before we go our separate ways, we'll take a few family photos, and then we're going to reassemble shortly out at the county flagpole to raise the flag in the Kelly brothers' memory. Thank you all.